This is Scott Vanderplu, and you're listening to the Artist Edition Index Podcast, episode 74.
I went down to the St. James Infirmary, found my baby there, stretched out on a long white table, so sweet, so cold, so fast.
Thank you for joining me once more on this adventure of all things AE, where we take the written word from the Artist Edition Index website at aeindex.org and bring it to life, or apparently as much as I can clear my throat this evening. I'm not sure what's happened there. All right, lots going on. Of course, the big news this month is the 2022 Dunbier Awards, currently raging on. I'm recording this on January 31st, so this is the last day for the Dunbier Awards. And let's have a look and see what's happening. I encourage anyone who hasn't voted yet to please come and vote. We have 6 books being nominated this year. And we have 5 categories of voting. So it's pretty exciting. Excuse me. I don't want to spoil anything. But we've got a bit of a, I want to say that Wayne Allen Harold and P. Craig Russell really rallied the troops and got people to come vote. I feel like that's my biggest issue every year, is not getting enough people to vote. Now, I emailed a press release / email to Bleeding Cool and the Comics Beat, and nobody picked it up. So I'll have to try harder next year. Start earlier. I gave them the 1 week left of voting. I thought if I do it too early in the month, it won't get any traction. So I thought 1 week left would get some traction, but didn't get anything. So what can you do? Looking at the voting, there's a lot of close numbers there, but it looks like the Rocketeer is sort of taking the lead on all categories. Interesting. A reprint with 2 new pages, beat out so many other things. All right, well, that's why it's an open public vote. Everybody can vote and cast their ballot and their opinion, right? But official winner will be announced tomorrow, so look for that on the website. All right, let's talk shipping changes. We got Lone Wolf and Cub Gallery Edition. Now, this has been an interesting book because there's been talk of new printing. That's how it was listed on Diamond. Diamond's date keeps moving. Some forum members did some ordering. Cheap Graphic Novels had it on for a good price. Someone on the forum today received the book, and they said when they looked at the colophon, it was listed as first printing 2018. So I looked on the Penguin Random House site because I've got access to comic retailer websites, and it's in stock at Penguin Random House. It's not in stock at Diamond, so anybody from a local comic shop should be able to order this and get a copy. So I don't know where this glut of, maybe there was a skid or something found of these books, or when Dark Horse, their deal with Penguin Random House to distribute their books, maybe that uncovered extra copies. But if you're looking for Lone Wolf and Cub, man, get your orders in now because they are shipping. I don't know how long Penguin Random House is going to have them in stock. It's a hot book. It's very well done. Please look at my review. It's so great. I love this book. I'm looking right now again at Diamond. Still saying February 8th. It just keeps moving every week though. So I would not rely on the Diamond. I would definitely rely on it coming from Penguin Random House. All right. Are there any other shipping? Let's have a look. Are there any other shipping changes? Not that I'm aware of. We've no new solicitations this month of AE format books. Diamond continues with IDW to relist older books. I don't know if that's stock at Diamond, or is it IDW coming up with stock and providing it to Diamond? Whatever it is, there's a few books again this month. All right. Moving on. Any other news? No emails really this month. Someone asked what my criteria is for reviewing. They mentioned that they had a lot of those image books. Let me see if I can find it. The image, let's see. Oh boy. No, not good. He's got the image giant size artist proofs. They're the larger floppy, sort of like the pen and ink that I did review the George Press. And do I review those? And I said, no, I don't review those. I review stuff that contains original art, shows original art pages, either the AE format, which is full-size art, or the smaller stuff, which is not quite not quite an AE category, which is like that George Perez's Sirens pen and ink. It showed the pencils, so we've got the original art there. But no, many books that I would like to review, including a lot of French books, they do cleaned up black and white art. My reference is always, if you have ever seen any of those EC slipcases from Russ Cochran in the 70s and 80s, right? That's scans of original art and then brought to black and white production level where we're not seeing the raw original art anymore. And I'm not interested in that. For this site, this is our focus, right? Original art and the collections of it. There has been a lot of talk, again, so Cartoonist Kayfabe listed yet another personal or handmade or personal made sort of AE book. This one was on Lone Wolf and Cub. That's why it would be interesting. I've been getting a lot of hits on my review. And it's great. People can, you can auction sites and things, Comic Art Fans, Heritage, any of these sites, you can gather scans if they have them and produce a book. But I mean, unless it's 600 DPI, and what's the quality of the scan? And then, of course, you can't sell it because you don't have the copyright for that. I did participate in a Wildstorm Facebook group where they produced a volume. They've actually produced two. I think they're working on their third, where they just get scans from members and then they put them in a book and then they just sell it for cost. I think the cost was 100 to 120, something like that. I did order one. I found it to be just like, it was more line art, again, sort of like the Russ Cochran books, and it was not just straight scans of original art, and I found that a bit disappointing. So I was able to sell my book to another member of the group. So that's interesting. So yes, you can gladly produce your own book, not for resale. And it's going to cost you whatever to print your one copy. I mean, it probably cost you the same as it would do buying an artist edition. Really. I mean, but then what are you going to do? Quality, I think, is your biggest. I don't want to say opponent, but quality is going to be your biggest issue when you're gathering a book like that. All right, what else is going on? Let's talk out of print sales for December 2022. Again, these are from eBay, and they are. It's only. I don't do bundles, so if there's a bundle to sit on eBay, I don't cover the bundle. I cover only the single books. All right, so let's talk what's sold in December on eBay of the AE format books. Alien Illustrated Story, one copy sold for $125. 2 copies of Basil Wolverton's Weird World sold for an average of $155. 4 copies of Batman: The Dark Knight Returns Frank Miller Gallery Edition sold for an average of $99.45. Now, even with the discount that Graffiti's giving Diamond, these are barely over cost. Like, it just, I don't know who's selling these books at making nothing. $5, $10. What? Anyway, good deals on eBay for that. 8 copies of Bernie Wright's and Artifact Edition second print sold for an average of $149.99. 2 copies of Best of EC Comics Volume 1 sold for an average of $289. Wow, that's really moving up. 4 copies of Bill Sienkiewicz's Mutants and Moon Knights and Assassins Artifact Edition sold for an average of $399.87. Consistently a very high resale value on that book. 3 copies of Conan Red Nail's Original Art Archives, $221.67 is the average. 1 copy of Dave Cockrum's X-Men for $119.99. 1 copy of Dave Gibbons' Watchmen Artifact Edition, $200. Wow. 1 copy of David Mazzucchelli's Daredevil Born Again, $299.99. 1 copy of Fantagraphic Studio Edition Black Hole by Charles Burns, $274. This book languished. Nobody buying it, sitting there always, and then bang, out of print, and now look at that price. Frank Cho's Savage Wolverine Artist Edition, 1 copy, $115. 1 copy of Frank Miller's Daredevil Artifact Edition, $425. I wonder if that was before or after. No, that was before the announcement that there'd be a new printing of that as an artist edition. I am hoping, but not counting on it, that Scott Dunbier can sneak some new art into. It's been 2015. It's been 8 years since this book was released. Surely there's enough additional Frank Miller Daredevil art that another 10 or 15 or 20 pages could be added to this book, and then that would make it a lot of people who own the first print may want to consider getting this new printing just for the additional pages. So let's hope IDW and Scott Dunbier can make that happen. I'll email him and ask him if that's happening. All right, one copy of Gil Kane's Amazing Spider-Man for $99.99. One copy of Jack Davis's EC Stories for $225. One copy of Jack Kirby, The Forever People for $89.99. 3 copies of Jack Kirby's Marvel Heroes and Monsters for $199 and $99 average. One copy of Jack Kirby's The Mighty Thor for $199.99. One copy of Jim Lee DC Legends for $199.99. 8 copies of Jim Starlin's Marvel Cosmic Artifact Edition, averaging $106.87. 2 copies of Joe Kubert's Tarzan of the Apes, averaging $84.99. 1 copy of John Byrne's Fantastic Four for $369.64. Wow, that's a high. Wow. 5 copies of John Byrne's Marvel Classics, averaging 159 cents. 1 copy of John Byrne's X-Men for $649.95. 2 copies, John Romita's Amazing Spider-Man Artist Edition, Volume 2, $154.87 average. 3 copies of Mad Artist Edition, averaging $185.67. Isn't that interesting? I had 2 copies on the website for sale forever, and I sold them at $150 because I couldn't move them at any other price. All right, 1 copy of Marvel Covers Artist Edition for $59.99. That's just, wow, that is low. Interesting. Bargain there. 1 copy of the second print for $125. 2 copies of Mike Mignola's Hellboy and Hell and Other Stories. First print, $499.99 average. What happened there? 3 copies of Mike Mignola's The Amazing Screw on Head and Other Curious Objects, averaging $129.99. 2 copies of P. Craig Russell's Strange Dreams, averaging $122.50. 2 copies of Ross Andrews' Amazing Spider-Man, $132.49 average. 1 copy of Sam Keith's The Max, $325. This, another book, just sat there forever. And now they're really commanding the prices. So, I mean, the interesting thing with Sam Keith's The Max is that every copy was signed by Sam Keith. So, makes it extra special. 1 copy of Sergio Aragona's Gru the Wanderer, $206.95. 1 copy of Spawn Vault Edition for $400. 2 copies of Spawn Vault Edition 2, averaging $375. 2 copies of Star Wars Artifact Edition, averaging $137.50. 1 copy of Star Wars Dark Times Gallery Edition, $45. 2 copies of Stranko Nick Fury Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., averaging $193.61 for the first print. 2 copies of the second print, averaging $199.99. I never quite understand that. I guess somebody likes that second print cover better. 1 copy of Usagi Jimbo Samurai and Other Stories, $260. 1 copy of Wally Wood's EC Stories Artist Edition second print, $295. 2 copies of Walter Simonson Star Wars Artist Edition, $139 average. And that wraps up for that. Let's look at some record prices. I think I did something wrong here because my record prices don't seem right. There was a new record in December. Mike Mignola's Hellboy and Hell and Other Stories Artist Edition, a copy sold for $699.99. That's the record for the month. I have highlighted some other records that are wrong. I don't know why they're highlighted, so I have to look at that. All right, let's talk where I promote the website and how you can assist the website. And that's 3 ways to do that. First is become a Patreon patron. You can $1, £1, €1, whatever your local currency is. If Patreon supports it, you can support the website for that amount or whatever amount you'd like to do. Greatly appreciated. Clicking the links, the affiliate links on the site. Most of my links are affiliate links. I get a small percentage of when you buy a book. That's fabulous. You're already buying the book. This helps me out. It helps you out. Everybody gets helped out. Third way to support me, and the site is through the store link. I have moved recently. I'm an extra hour and a half further away from the border than I used to be, the U.S.-Canada border. So I haven't found a place yet that will ship, that drives to the U.S. and ships from the U.S. I'm still working on that. It's still, if I can find anybody that does that, it's significantly cheaper than using Canada Post or any courier service from Canada to the U.S. So I'm still working on that. I did want to mention to listeners of the podcast, I have just purchased 3 books from Facebook Marketplace, Canadian, that I'll be listing on my store. And they are David Mazzucchelli's Daredevil Born Again Artist Edition, Wally Wood's EC Stories, second print, Will Eisner's The Spirit Volume 1. Going to be listing those fair market value on the store sometime in the next month, so watch February. They'll be up there. So if those are books you're interested in, watch that. I have books currently on the site. I've got Eric Powell's The Goon Artist Edition. I got multiple copies of that at $100 US. Now I know, I would like to mention, not that it matters, but I did not buy any books on IDW's sale and then try and resell them here. Just shipping from California to Canada by IDW is prohibitively expensive for multiple books like that. So I did not do that. All right, and what do I use the money for if you're interested? Buying books and then reviewing them here. That's all I use the money for. As I said before, and I'll say it again, European bande dessinée books of European art. There's the AE format is alive and well in Europe, and these books are fabulous, and I really do enjoy them greatly. So I do buy books from Europe. I have a couple lined up. Again, they're just sitting here waiting to be reviewed. My move is complete. The family was here early. I think I mentioned it before. I'm now here. My life is sort of getting back to normal. So I'm hoping to get, back to, I'll be keeping the 2 reviews a month and then the other things that happen. So I'm hoping that's all going to go as smoothly as possible. All right. 2 reviews this month. And they were Grains of Sand, 25 Years of the Sandman, a catalog from the Comic Art Museum, and then Judge Dredd by Mick McMahon Apex Edition from 2080. So let's get into Grains of Sand, 25 Years of the Sandman first. I am going to give a little bit of a plug to the forum and forum member Brian Wells, because it was he who spotted this copy for sale somewhere. I don't know where he saw it. It was on a sale table somewhere. And he picked it up for me and he mailed it to me, and I'm very grateful for that. I really appreciate it. Because we'd previously reviewed the Raw Fury Mike Zeck catalog from the Cartoon Art Museum in San Francisco. And this one is 144 pages, and it's a lot of art, a lot of crossover from the Sandman Gallery Edition. A lot of pages the same, but then interestingly, a lot of pages didn't make it into the Gallery Edition, and a lot of pages the Gallery Edition has that are not in this book. So if you're a fan of the Sandman and you like that art from that series, which is by a great number of artists. A great many number of artists, I mean, some of the artists are great. Yes, that's true as well. But if you like the Sandman, then I encourage you to pick this up. It's quite inexpensive from the Cartoon Art Museum. There are shipping I find is, but it's $40 for 144 pages, 9x12. Let me give you the blurb, actually. I've got ahead of myself there. The Cartoon Art Museum presents a stunning 144-page, full-color, soft-cover catalog showcasing over 100 pieces from CAM's historic exhibition, Grains of Sand. Highlights include more than 20 pages from the groundbreaking first issue Sandman, 8 pages from The Sound of Her Wings, featuring the first appearance of Death from Sandman number 8, full-color paintings by Yoshitaka Amano, Baron Story, J.H. Williams III, and series cover artist Dave McKean, beautiful unretouched pencil artwork by famed illustrator Michael Zulli, and highlights from Neil Gaiman's personal collection of Sandman artwork. Grains of Sand also features new text pieces by Sandman co-creators Neil Gaiman, Sam Keith, and Mike Dringenberg. Well, I hope I got it. As well as Sandman Overture artist J.H. Williams III. So that was released in January 2014. Again, it's 9x12 inches, 144 pages. It's a perfect bound softcover, $40 US. You can get it from the Cartoon Art Museum, or you can try and get it on eBay. All right. Did the photos here. I had a problem. The new house, having some problems with my photography. My front window, I did find actually for the Mick McMahon book, I found the front window. We have a nice big front window. I got my sturdy cardboard paper, and I was able to set up with my overhead shot. I use a mic stand on a boom arm, and that setup worked great. But I did not have that for this book. So I found the pictures a bit dark. I shot them in my library, and then I tried to use the whiten tool in GIMP, but it didn't quite work as successfully as I would have liked. All right. Anyways, I think this is a great book, and what I love about what they've done, I love that they've put the art in there, and then because it's a catalog, right? Every page is numbered. Every page is notated what issue is from, who's the artist. Who's the penciler? Who's the inker? What is the medium? What is the size of the original art? And then they give you the original art. This is the beauty thing of a catalog, right? And then, of course, what I love about a catalog as well is it can feature multiple publishers, and they sort of seem to get around any sort of copyright issue, which is I always encourage. I mean, please, Heritage, whoever's there, somebody listening, Mike Hignite, please print a catalog of, your signature original art auction. Please print a full-size original art catalog and sell them for $100. I mean, I'd be all over that, like a dirty shirt. I don't know why anybody would be all over a dirty shirt, but maybe that's the expression. Anyway, yeah, great stuff. And the nice thing about this is we go through every page, and we get to the back, and it lists off all the pages, and it lists off who provided the pages. And it's interesting to see that somebody provided a whole lot of pages, one collector. And then it's interesting to see what comes from the Neil Gaiman collection. So great, a really interesting book. Again, soft cover. They're keeping the price down, 9x12, so it's the same size as a artifact edition. I'm sorry, an artisan edition, and it's a really nice addition to your collection. They have a Gene Colan book too that's smaller, but like I said, I'm a bit hesitant to pay the shipping to Canada. So I don't know if that'll ever happen. But anyway, that's Grains of Sand, 25 Years of the Sandman catalog. Great stuff. All right. Next. Judge Dredd by Mick McMahon Apex Edition. Let me give you the blurb first. Let's do this in the right order. The iconic Judge Dredd work of a master artist, from his earliest stories to his groundbreaking work on serials such as The Cursed Earth and The Judge Child, this Apex Edition of Mick McMahon's Judge Dredd work shows how his style constantly evolved and helped him make him one of the greatest Dredd artists of all time. Featuring high-resolution scans of original artwork, this is a deluxe, oversized facsimile edition that reproduces McMahon's original art pages at their actual size. Complete stories such as Frankenstein 2, The Wreath Murders, and Dream Palace are published alongside pages from The Cursed Earth, The Day the Law Died, The Judge Child, The Fink, and Block Mania. This book ends with a section devoted to his color Dredd work from the early 80s, including the complete Pinboing Wizard and several double-page spreads from the legendary The Vampire Effect. This was released in North America through Diamond, January 4th, 2023. It is 481 millimeters by 371 millimeters, which is 14.75 inches by 19 inches. It is 120 pages, hardcover, $105.99 USD. That is the cover price. I say and emphasized January 4th, 2023 in North America through Diamond because that's what I gauge and use as my publishing date. And that's what I will use for the 2023 Dunbier Awards. This will be the first book of 2023. So this will be one of the first books taken into consideration. All right. This is a massive list of people who donated art to this book. I really feel like it's just, I've never seen a list this big, actually. So that's awesome. And then there's a great introduction by David Roach, who assembled the book, gathered the art. And then we have our designer, Sam Gretton, and we have edited by Oliver Pickles. Great table of contents in this book. And then every page is numbered, which is a rarity for an AE format book. But again, wonderful. And then every page lists the 2000 AD prog that the page came from. It's because 2000 AD is an anthology, and they call them progs. And then you've got the page and the story number. So it's just amazing. This level of detail. And you know what else is amazing is, oh my goodness, Mick McMahon's art in the early days, it's rough. It's very different than, the Mick McMahon art I was aware of was Epic and The Last American, that series. And we sort of see that style from him later. And that's the Mick McMahon art style I know. And that's actually the art style I like from him. But very nice. And we do see some of that later in the book. And then we see his style evolve even more. And it's fabulous, actually, his style now. Really great. Would love to see if we can get something more complete from Mick McMahon in this format. I mean, David Roach is posted on Facebook that we'll see another Apex edition of Mick McMahon art, but everything 2000 AD, not Judge Dredd. So that, I saw a Slain the Horn God page. It looks really great. So, just wonderful stuff. This book, though, I mean, I thought, it's well done. Artwork is really great scans. It's interesting, they actually, the blurb lists these full stories, And I look at the table of contents, and its stories are between 5 and 7 pages. I mean, it's a chapter, right? Because it's an anthology. Each week you're getting a chapter of the story. But I was able to find the one story here that they say the Cursed Earth. I found that. I found Frankenstein too. But like the Wreath Murders, there's no story labeled in the table of contents. The Wreath Murders. So I don't know where that came from. And then they list, what's the next one? Dream Palace. And again, I look at the table of contents and I'm like, I don't see any story named Dream Palace. So I don't know what happened there. I see a lot of the Judge Child episodes and the Fink and Blockmania and Cursed Earth. Yeah, I don't see these full stories that they mentioned. So not quite sure what happened there. But there are great full stories here, so that's all that matters. All right. What else? I think, actually, you know what? I think that's for this month. Please, as always, everything that I discussed on the podcast this month is written pretty much on the website, aeindex.org. Go, please look at the review. I think there's 19 photos from the Judge Dredd by Mick McMahon and a full video flip through. And then the grains of sand. I do not have a flip through for that because I find perfect bound books like that, soft covers, they're really hard to do flip throughs. They're glossy. It's hard for me to hold the pages open. I just can't get it done. So a nice full size book, something sewn binding, I can do a flip through. It works well for the camera. I can't do it otherwise. All right, that's it. Thanks for joining me again. We'll talk to each other again next month.
Let her go, God bless her. Wherever she may be, she can search this wide world over. She'll never find a sweet man like me.